What's good, Seahawks fans? Welcome in to this live edition of Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. The wait is finally over. Training camp is here among us. We will catch you up to speed with everything you need to know on Seahawks training camp coming up in just a matter of moments, including Devon Witherspoon's holdout. Got some roster updates to talk about. We'll go over the injury report, everything you need to know with day number one of training camp coming up in just a matter of moments. Plus, we will be discussing who's on the hot seat for the Seahawks as they enter training camp. I got 4 players in particular that have the most to prove. We'll get to that later on. We'll do a Q&A Rumors mailbag, and then we're going to debut a brand new segment here on Seahawks Today Live coming up later, where we're going to talk hot takes. The hotter the take, the more spicy it is, and better served for me. Later on in the show, and you can go ahead and start sending these in now, use hashtag hot take and give me your hottest Seahawks take about this team entering training camp or predictions for this season, whatever it may be. Maybe you want somebody cut or traded or fired, whatever it is. The hotter the take, the better. We'll react to those coming up later on in the show. As you guys file in and get the show started, shout out your city. Tell us where you are watching from, where you are sitting in and enjoying the Seahawks Today here on this Wednesday afternoon. Let us know where you're at. We'll shout you out as you join us here today. I got Big Tex hanging out with me as well. He is back, and Seahawks Today is back better than ever. We were off last week, took a little vacation, some time off in Phoenix, but we are back in the saddle again as football season has finally arrived. Let us know where you guys are watching from. I see Pedro is in Los Angeles, the city of angels, where dreams are made of, is what I've been told. Pablo in South Carolina. Welcome, Pablo. Good to be here. And then here he is, the man of the hour, Big Tex himself, in all his glory, checking in from, you guessed it, Texas. Big Tex, how are we feeling on this Wednesday? Welcome back.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm doing all right. Yourself, Tyler?
I'm good. Aaron's in Stanwood, Washington. I got Carl Toast in Washington. Got Brian in Woodland, Washington. I got Nick Fury back in the house. Nick, where you been the last few weeks, my guy? You're in North Carolina. I got Daniel says, yo. Hey, Daniel. Damn, Daniel. That's how they say it, right? Let's see. Got Daniel in Omaha, Nebraska. Used to live there at one point. Jay is in Edgewood. Let's see. We got Pacific Northwest in Kirkland, Washington. Welcome back, Pacific Northwest. Got Evan in Providence, Rhode Island. I got Orlando, Florida in the chat as well. Got Wayne in Phoenix, Arizona. Wayne, I had a great time in Phoenix, but it is hot as hell in Phoenix. 119 one of the days I was there. No, thank you. Tex, of the cities that we have mentioned, have you been to any of these cities?
I have been to Quebec. That was a while ago.
Oh, I missed Quebec from Alexandria.
Yes.
Quebec, Canada. I've never been to Canada.
Quebec's honestly worth it. It's definitely a lot different than, your average Canada territory, if you will.
Sure.
It's different than, like, Toronto or anything like that. But I liked Quebec. I've also been to L.A. before. I've been to I've been to North Carolina. It was a long time ago.
Okay. You've been to Omaha.
I have not been to Omaha.
Okay.
Nope. On the list.
All right. So very good. Thanks for checking in, guys. As you file in, continue to shout your city where you're at today. Also, a little challenge here. We've been doing this the last couple of weeks, but now I want to take 2 steps back. We've been doing by position group of trying to name how many Seahawks you can come up with. Now, here's what I want to do. How many Seahawk players can you name on the current 90-man roster? Can you name all 90? Here's the challenge out there. Let's see who can name all 90 players, or how many they can come up with at the very least. And Tex, we're not going to give any hints because we want this to be fair for everybody. We're not going to say any of the names out there. But let us know how many Seahawk players you can name, and you will be the early favorite to be the MVP for today's show to see who can name the most players here. We'll see who can come up with it. So chime in, let us know in the chat and let's do a little challenge here to see who can name the most Seahawk players. 90 to be exact. The roster obviously has made some changes, even as early as today, of what it looks like. But nonetheless, who can name the most players? I'm very curious to see who's going to come up with. While that's going on, let me do some more shout-outs where people are watching. Got Raw Hector in Los Angeles. Wayne says, you escaped hell. Hope you had fun. I had a great time in Phoenix. Carlotos is in Tacoma. Nick says, I've been in hibernation this offseason. Hibernating from what, Nick? Welcome back, though. Good to have you here, Nick. My webpage just refreshed. So let me wait a second to get some more of those shout-outs going. Here we go. Alexandre says, thanks, my guy. No problem. Steve says, Steve from Crown Hill neighborhood in Seattle. Welcome, Steve. Good to have you here. Wayne says, hell, or we call it home the Cardinals. That's very, very accurate. And then Wayne retracted the message. There's nothing to retract there, Wayne. You're very accurate.
It's okay.
It is hell where the Cardinals play. Got John in Muckleshoot, and there's Wayne with his correct. Now his putting the answer back in there. Jay says, I got my Bobby throwback jersey on. Very cool. That's great. Good news there. Who can name the most Seahawks players? Let us know in the chat, and we'll put the little challenge out there. Who can put together the most players in their comments, and we'll shout you out to see who can come up with the most number of the current roster of 90 players as it stands right now. We'll shout you out here in a second. We'll circle back to that here in just a moment. What are you most excited about this Seattle Seahawks team in 2023? There's a lot of things in particular to me that come to mind. But I got to tell you, Big Tex, the return of Bobby Wagner to this team to get arguably the best off-ball linebacker in football back on this roster, to make his return and to fill a giant need for the Seahawks too. Not just all the stuff, when you look at of being a Seahawk legend and returning home, all that stuff, but just the quality football player that Bobby Wagner is, and where the Seahawks were at last year defensively. They will certainly need Bobby Wagner and get the most they can out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, a lot of people, like you said before, thought Bobby, when he left Seattle to play for the Rams last year, was going to drop off his play. He was amazing last year. I don't have his stats on hand with me, but I know he didn't regress in any way as an outside linebacker for the Rams last year. And I feel like you could expect that same level of play when he returns to Seattle this season.
Yeah. What are you most excited about the Seahawks this year, Tex?
I got to say it's JSN for me. I got to see what he's got in store for us. That'll be a good time.
Wasn't he supposed to be a Longhorn?
I think he was probably a miss by the recruiters. I don't even know if they looked at him. There's been a lot of people, like Garrett Wilson's another one from Texas, where you're like, that dude's
it's Garrett Wilson, yeah.
From Rockwall. Yeah.
Yeah. That
freaking sucks.
What could have been, right?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to be wearing UT colors today, but
it does pop, though.
Just to save myself, horns down. Sorry, Tex.
That's okay.
It had to be done. Let's see. What are you guys most excited about? Let's see. Ilona says, hey, Tyler, I'm excited for everything. Let's go Seahawks. IXCH, a lot of numbers there. Says, I want to see what JSN can do. Wayne agrees with Tex, says JSN as well. Nick Fury, here's what Nick Fury came up with on how many Seahawks he could name. Bobby Wagner, Kenneth Walker III, Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Tariq Woolen, Draymond Jones, Julian Love, Uchenna Nwosu. So that's 10. So that's the number. So Nick Fury is our MVP of the show so far with 10 names he came up with. Can somebody take all those names and add more? Can somebody name more than the 10 that Nick Fury came up with? Let's see what they can come up with. Let's see. Ilona says, hi, Wayne. The throwback jerseys will be great. Let's see. Can't wait to see Jack Smith. Can't wait to see. Very cool there. Awesome stuff there. We'll get to our news and rumors segment in a moment, but let's go ahead and get this chat going. I want the chat rate to really just pop off here a bit, because what happens when we do these chat rate challenges, it gets the attention of the algorithm to deliver the show to more people out there. And we want more people to be a part of what we're doing here on the channel and join the party here on Seahawks Today. So here's what we're going to do. Tex, I'm going to put a minute on the clock, and we're going to spam S as much as we can. And I'm going to try to read as many names as I possibly can, try to shout everybody out over this next minute. Basically, this is a way to get the chat ready for football season. Consider this like a pep rally of some sorts for Seahawks football in 2023. So we'll put a minute on the clock, spam us as much as you can, and I'll shout you guys out in the comment section. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! How many S's can we get? Ilona with an S. Doom with the super chat. We'll get to Doom here in just a minute. We haven't got to the super chat menu yet. Ilona with the S's. How many more S's can we get? Keep those S's going, fast and furious, folks. I want to see speed. I want to see that Kenneth Walker speed on display in this chat here as my computer decided to refresh. Tex, give some shout-outs while my computer loads.
I gotcha. What's up, Ian? What's up, Ilona? Iona, sorry. Iona, Brian Peterson, Carlitos, what's up? I'm getting noties over mine right now. Steve John, what's good, G? Sasha, what's up, man?
Faster, Tex.
You gotta keep going, sorry.
Keep going.
Ian, Ilona, Brian, Carlitos. It's the same three. They're all MVPs.
Keep rolling.
Nick Fury, what's up, dude? Oh, Carlitos again. Ian.
Nick, Ilona, Brian, Carlitos, Nick, Brian, Nick. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good, everybody. Good work on the chat.
We had a super chat coming.
Let's get to that super chat. We haven't gotten to the super chat menu yet. And we're already getting super chats. So that's a good way to start today. From Doom, with a $5 super chat, writes in, do they give Jamal Adams a Troy Polamalu type role where he can just kind of do whatever he wants while Diggs and Love drop back into coverage? I like that idea, personally. Now, maybe by letting him do that, that might make him more prone to injury. Make that last one a 200, by the way, on the super chat. Before we go live with that, I'm not trying to give that big of a discount. But yes, I do think Jamal Adams could be in a Troy Polamalu type role. I wonder if you make him free-flowing like that, though, if you're going to make him more prone to injury. I mean, he's not even back yet from the injury he already has at this point. So I would be I like the idea, but I would be a little bit concerned if that's going to be the right plan long-term necessarily. But we are going to see, whenever Jamal Adams gets back, he, Julian Love, and Quantre Diggs in those 3 high safety sets, and I think it's going to be pretty impressive as far as what those guys can put together on that front. Doom, thanks for the $5 super chat. That means we sing the DK song. Tex, you got your vocal cords warmed up? Here we go. A 1, a 2, a 3. Chomping, Carol's chomping. Gino passes, no one stopping. DK, touchdowns all day. He rolls. There we go. And to the super chat menu we go. As you can see, every $5 super chat, we sing the DK song. Every $10, we take a shot. $15, we'll do a little beer cheers as I have my Coors Light in hand. No Bud Light for me. There it is. And as you can see, the mountains are blue. That's when you know it's legit, when the mountains are blue. Cheers, folks. Every $5, we sing the DK song. $10, we'll take a shot. $15, do a little beer cheers. $20, we'll do a beer chug. And the boot is back in all its glory. Here's the boot right here, folks. Here's what I'm offering. If we get $200 as a group today, we're going to do the boot. Been a minute since we've done the boot. I'm ready to bring back the boot and, basically just make this thing my bitch. I mean, that's what I want to do today. I just want to do dirty, bad things to this boot. So $200, if we get $200 collectively, then the boot is happening today, where we drink this thing as quick as humanly possible. And $100, you can get a spot on the Boot Hall of Fame. I would love to induct somebody on the Boot Hall of Fame today. And every time we drink out of this boot, you'll be drinking with us. You'll be part of the family. You'll be a real one. And you'll go down in Seahawks Today history as one of the OGs on this show if you join the Boot Hall of Fame. So $100, and this could be you drinking with us each and every time. Because when we drink, what happens, Tex? The Seahawks score.
The Seahawks score.
And so the sooner we start drinking this offseason and start getting the cheers going and everything, then we're setting the tone early. Because the Seahawks are about to take the field here in just a few weeks before we know it. We need to get to drinking and enjoy ourselves before the season actually starts for the Seahawks. So that is what's on tap today. We have a Super Chat battle as well going on as there's a couple other live shows between some other teams around the league right now. Steelers talk, Bears now, Giants now. They're having themselves a day. We're at $5 to start today's show. Giants now's at $2.50. Steelers talks at $4.75. Bears now's at $1.15. So I really want to represent. I want our chat to just dominate those other teams and show why Seahawk fans are the best fans in the National Football League. Let's win this live Super Chat battle. These are shows that are going on in progress right now, and we want to take on those channels and show them who's boss. So let's do what we can. Take down Giants now, Steelers talk, Bears now. With their numbers, let's win this Super Chat battle today. So there's what we're offering. Let's do it. Let's have ourselves a day. 12s. Let's show why you guys are the absolute best and be a part of that Super Chat battle today. Mailbag coming up as well. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the mailbag. Super Chats get you to the front of the line. And then we'll also do our first ever hot take mailbag as well. If you got a hot take on anything and everything, then you got a chance to be on the show. And you give us something juicy, some prediction. Maybe you want somebody fired. I don't care what it is. Give me your hot take using hashtag hot take or Super Chat, and we'll get that on our hot take segment coming up later on in the show. If you're ready to get things started, then go ahead and like today's video. I got 18 likes so far. I know we can do better than that. Let's at least get to 25, and then we can start today's show. So I'm going to go ahead and spam it in the chat right now that I need everybody to like today's video. That way we can officially get things started. And the likes, they certainly show us some support and help us out. Free way to contribute to the show. We understand not everybody can Super Chat, but if you can at least like and comment and be active, be involved, engage the show, that certainly helps. So once we hit 25 likes, we will officially get this thing started. In the meantime, Tex, so let's tell people what's coming up on today's show. News and rumors, as it's been a busy day for the Seahawks. Raw Hector got up to 18 names. Good work there, Raw Hector. We will catch you up to speed with the latest happenings with the Seahawks from day one of training camp. Also, we'll do a live Q&A rumors mailbag. Use hashtag Seahawks or Super Chat to get on the rumors mailbag that we'll bring you coming up later. Also got our hot take segment as well. Use hashtag hot take to get your hot takes on screen and interact with our hot take segment coming up later. And then we will do a training camp hot seat segment. Who is on the hot seat for the Seahawks entering training camp? We will discuss coming up in just a matter of moments here on Seahawks Today. So that is what's in store. I need 3 more likes, and then we can officially get this thing on the road. Tex, you all ready? We all ready to roll?
All good to go.
Let's do it. Let's have ourselves a day. Wednesday edition. Seahawks Today. Training camp underway. Let's get after it, folks. Breaking news here on Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here as the Seahawks have made a signing, picking up Chris Steele, the former undrafted free agent out of USC, making his return to the Seahawks. This is after the release of Isaiah Dunn and James Campbell. Let's tell you more about Chris Steele. Started with the Steelers to begin his career, then went to the Dolphins for a minute, joined the Seahawks towards the end of last year. He was released back in April, now making his return to the team. And when you look at Chris Steele, this is a guy who we've seen in college was a pretty decent football player, was an all Pac-12 honorable mention back in 2021, has shown flashes at times. We'll get you his statistics here in just a second, but you can see why that the Seahawks are giving him a chance again to make the roster when you dive into what he brings to the table and what those numbers were when he was at SC. Now, the Seahawks are loaded at the cornerback position, as we've discussed many times on this program before with what they've done with Devon Witherspoon. More on him in just a second. As well as Tariq Woolen and Mike Jackson and Kobe Bryant and Trey Brown and company. But nonetheless, Chris Steele competing for a spot. Good to have him around at least at the very least as a camp body of sorts. More from Lance Zierlein of NFL Media. This is the scouting reports on Chris Steele as he was entering the NFL draft a couple of years ago. Decorated recruit coming into the USC program who failed to live up to expectations over 3 years. Steele offers adequate size and length as a perimeter corner, but had some distressing moments when his long speed was tested. He plays with clear eyes and distinct instincts. Clear eyes, full hearts can't lose, right? But lacks ideal short area burst to stay connected with long form routes. Steele needs to run well to help boost his draft stock. The numbers on Chris Steele, this is what I'm talking about here, folks. In that 2021 season, 2 interceptions, 3 pass breakups, 2 tackles for loss, 33 tackles. To me, that's not bad at all for a former undrafted free agent to give him a shot and see what he potentially brings to the table here. So, what do you think of the signing by the Seahawks to give Chris Steele another chance in Seattle? Grade it for me what you think in the comment section. A, B, C, D, or F. Let us know in the comment section below what your grade for the signing would be. Folks, this is why you subscribe to Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. When the Seahawks make a big move, we are going to bring you a video as quick as we can here on the channel as we're talking about your Seattle Seahawks each and every day here on Seahawks Today with the latest happenings on your favorite team, news and rumors. We also do our live shows, of course, watch parties and more, and we are ramping up things when it comes to training camp here on the channel. So if you haven't already subscribed, it's not too late. Go ahead and do so for free. Best part about it, turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. YouTube.com/SeahawksTV to subscribe for free today. The other big headline out of day number 1 of Seahawks training camp was the no-show from rookie corner Devon Witherspoon, as he did not report to Seahawks training camp. And that certainly leaves a lot of questions of why was he not there. Let's start with the report from ESPN's Adam Schefter first thing this morning on the West Coast, saying Seattle Seahawks corner Devon Witherspoon, the number 5 overall pick in April's draft, is not expected on the field for the start of training camp as both sides have been unable to reach a contract agreement. Witherspoon is the final player among this year's 259 draft picks to sign. Now, that was the report from Schefty, and there was more context of what exactly is going on in this situation between Witherspoon and Seahawks management, as described by ESPN Seahawks reporter Brady Henderson. Listen to this. This has indeed been the holdup with Devon Witherspoon's rookie deal. As Brock Heward said on Seattle Sports, again, no dispute over the size of the bonus. It's how much is paid now versus later. The Seahawks, like many teams, defer chunks of bigger bonuses into the future. And that is where the issue lies between these two. Now, before you freak out and are saying to yourselves, oh no, the Seahawks top pick, not there, hold out, how long is this going to be? Before you freak out and all that. The truth of the matter is that holdouts and rookies, what goes on now is not how it used to be. I think we all remember several years ago, Jamarcus Russell, the holdout he had, where he missed multiple games, right? Now, his career obviously didn't go that great, but that was a different time back then. Now you have the rookie wage scale and everything. Guys don't do this anymore because at the end of the day, what are you going to do? Just not play football? They'll figure this out one way or the other. So I know that it comes off as alarming, like, gee, you spent a number 5 pick on this guy and he doesn't show up. I get where you may be frustrated. But at the end of the day, one way or the other, this is all going to work itself out. These things always do. Now, for more context, Brady Henderson, a really good job explaining all this here. Listen to this. Henderson said, Witherspoon's slotted bonus is $21.17 million. The 3 quarterbacks who were drafted ahead of him, that would obviously be Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and Anthony Richardson. Reportedly got 100% of their bonuses paid up front. In some cases, up front can mean within a few weeks of the signing. Will Anderson, the third pick, got 85% up front and 15% deferred. So that is where the situation is to be figured out. Witherspoon wants more money up front. The Seahawks would like to defer money down the road. So that's where things stand right now. Not worked out at the moment, but I want to know. I'm not concerned personally. I think everything's going to be okay. But are you concerned? Weigh in. Tell me in the comment section your concern level about Devon Witherspoon not reporting to camp on time. What is it? Tell me what you think in the comment section. Scale it 1 through 10 and tell me why you feel the way you do. Whether you're very concerned or not concerned, let me know one way or the other where you stand on that. Folks, it was an exciting announcement last week when the Seahawks announced that they were going to bring back the throwback uniforms in 2023. And I got to tell you, it looks so good, doesn't it, what the Seahawks are going to be wearing later on this year and how big of a deal that is. It's a long time coming. Well, I got good news for you. We have Seahawks throwback gear from the AFC days on sale now up to 60% off at chatsports.com/Seahawks gear. So if you want the same gear that the guys are going to be wearing, I mean, look at that hat right there. If you want that same style of gear that we're going to see the Seahawks bring back, and if it brings you back to your childhood and the glory days, you can get yours as well and on sale. It's a great deal while supplies last, just for a limited time. Chatsports.com/Seahawks gear to get yours today. That's chatsports.com/Seahawks gear. Now, a contract update on Quandre Diggs. We told you throughout the offseason here that we expected that the way that Quandre Diggs' contract looked, that there would be a restructuring of sorts for the Seahawks safety. And sure enough, we got that news that they did go ahead and restructure Quandre Diggs, clearing up more cap space. And the man himself broke the news, saying on his own Twitter, Seahawks safety Quandre Diggs has restructured his contract, converts 23 salary into bonus. News reported by the man himself. And that's been an ongoing bit throughout the offseason for Quandre Diggs of breaking news for the Seahawks, including that Bobby Wagner news of the news he was coming back. Now, the Seahawks, that wasn't the only move that they made within the last couple of days. Besides that, the Chris Steele signing and all that, we told you for many, many weeks here on Seahawks Today that we expected that Alton Robinson was not going to make the Seahawks roster. The former fifth-round pick who missed all of last season with a knee injury, well, he didn't even make it to the start of camp as the Seahawks decided to go ahead and waive him, cutting him loose at this point and officially moving on. So he won't be involved at all. And Corbin Smith, who covers the Seahawks for All Seahawks Sports Illustrated, provided some context to the situation, saying Alton Robinson clearly has a significant knee issue that isn't getting better. Seahawks decided to move on from him before camp starts. So unfortunate for Alton Robinson. That's the way things go. But the Seahawks move on from here. So now you may be asking yourself, why did they make these moves? Why do you move on from Alton Robinson? Why do you restructure Quandre Diggs? And it's pretty clear what's going on here, folks. The Seahawks are moving heaven and earth to try to find some extra money so they can bring in another player of some sort. So they are laying the groundwork, I think, for a free agent signing. We know the Seahawks don't like to do trades. They haven't done a trade in about a year now since J.J. Arcega-Whiteside came to town, and obviously he wasn't around that long. I think that they're gearing up for that. And we've heard Pete Carroll say, as mentioned on this show previously, that the Seahawks feel like that they are still an interior defensive lineman away from getting to where they want to go. And, of course, we talked about Shelby Harris on this channel previously as well, about the idea of him bringing him back. So we'll see. Don't know what's going to happen, but I anticipate that there's still one more big move to be made for the Seahawks. So let's ask you, who will the Seahawks sign next in free agency? Let us know in the comments section who you think that is that the Seahawks will sign. Hit me up on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and more at Tyler Jones Live. You can find me there, and I'll see you next time right here on Seahawks Today. There you have it. One segment down, 3 to go. I want to know, folks, what's your concern level about Devon Witherspoon not reporting to training camp? Scale it for me in the comments, 1 through 10, and I'll read off some of these comments and see what the reaction is. Also got a super chat from Alexander we'll get to coming up in just a moment. On the name game, by the way, I believe 1XC Hawk bunch of numbers guy got to 55. Pretty impressive on that front. Scale it for me in the comments. Your concern level about Devon Witherspoon not reporting to camp as Big Tex joins me right now. Tex, let's get your thoughts on this. We don't talk about rookie holdouts too often anymore.
No,
I understand the annoyance. I do, but I don't see this lasting. They'll figure it out. I'm not concerned at all.
100%. I mean, the guy is the 5th overall pick.
Where's it going to go?
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to replace this guy with a UDFA or anything like that.
Sorry, Steven.
Sorry, Steven. No disrespect. I just, come on, man.
Right?
He's the 5th overall pick. John Schneider knows what he's doing. Pete Carroll knows what he's doing.
Right.
Everything's going to be fine.
Everything's going to be okay.
Take a deep breath.
Exhale.
Exhale.
Yes.
It'll be okay.
Alexander says 0 out of 10. That's the right answer. Steven on the other end, 20 out of 10. Okay. Two opposite ends of the spectrum on the concern about Devon Witherspoon not reporting to camp due to this holdout that he's done. Ilona gives it a 5. I think that's fair. That's a fair number. What is your number, your concern? Let us know in the chat, folks, and we'll shout you guys out. Let's get to Alexander's $5 super chat. I know you guys have talked about Grover Stewart being an option. What about a trade for V2V and no need for the DK song? Tex, that makes me sad. I wanted to do the DK song.
I know. Why don't you want the DK song, man? Come on. You know you like it.
I will, since you asked, since you said you did not want the DK song, I will refrain from singing the DK song. We'll respect your wishes this time. Alexander says he'll be in camp in 2 days max. Maybe so, yeah. Brian gives it a 4, just annoying. Wayne says 1 out of 10. Adam's a Corpus Christi Seahawk fan. V2V of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I got to tell you, I like V2V. And I know that some of these Seahawk fans are very familiar with his work in college. He played at Washington. Former first-round pick back in 2018. Won a Super Bowl with the Bucs. Pro Bowler back in 2021. Very good football player. I'd be very interested in a trade potentially, and he would be a great fit for what Seattle's looking for at that nose tackle spot. But here's the thing that's going on right now. I was just on a radio show in Tampa a couple days ago, and Tampa's between a rock and a hard place. They're in such cap space hell, and they don't have the draft capital and all that they don't really have much they can do to trade some of their veterans. So they can't really go all in and compete for a Super Bowl, but they can't start the rebuild either. So with that, I think it would be difficult to make a trade work just when it comes to where the Bucs are at financially and all that. But nonetheless, if you can pull it off, that'd be great for Seattle. I would be very intrigued with a move for that. Alexander, thank you for that super chat, and I will refrain from singing the DK song this time, just for you. But thank you for that, Alexander. Get your questions in, #Seahawks or super chat to be a part of our mailbag segment that we'll bring you here in just a moment, where we'll answer your questions in real time and react to them. Also, we're going to do our hot take segment. The spicier the take, the better. Use #hot take to get on that hot take segment that we'll bring you later on in the show. So mailbag first, then later on we're going to get to training camp hot seat, and then we'll end with our hot takes coming up in a bit. Let's go ahead and check the super chat menu for you folks. We're at $10 now, and here's what we're offering today. Every $5 we sing the DK song. $10 we take a shot. $15 we give you a little beer cheers. $20 a little beer chug, and every $200 that comes in, we will bring out Das Boot. $100, and you too can be on the Boot Hall of Fame. We'll induct you, and you'll be with us every time we drink out of the boot. $100 will be there. Here is the Super Chat battle going on today. As you can see, 12s, we got some work to do. We're at $10 right now. Bears got to $115 today. Steelers was $475. Giants $250. It can be done, but there is still work to be done to reach that point. So let's party. Barbie, let's party. No, not quite. Not quite. I'm not watching that damn Barbie movie. That looks terrible. But go ahead, Tex. Yes. After we get through the injury stuff. Yeah. There's Brian wanting the DK song. How about that? So how about a turn of events here? We go from Alexander sending a super chat and not wanting the DK song to Brian sending in a $5 super chat and says, DK song, please. Brian, just for you. Chomping, carols, chomping, Geno passes, no one stopping, DK. Touchdowns all day. He rules. There you go, Brian. Just for you. Thanks for the $5 super chat. That puts us at $15. We're chipping away slowly to get to the top of the mountain here on our super chat battle with the other channels here on Chat Sports Today. Coming up next is a Q&A mailbag segment, and then we still have plenty more to come here on Seahawks Today. But let's go ahead and get started with this mailbag segment, and then we'll answer your questions. Use hashtag Seahawks and Super Chat. We'll begin the segment talking about the Seahawks injury update, and then get into your questions. We'll begin that right now here on Seahawks Today. Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here. We're going to answer your questions coming up in a moment, but first, let's talk about the injury front for your Seattle Seahawks. This week, with camp beginning for Seattle, they placed 6 players on the active PUP list this week. Now, putting guys on the PUP list right now does not rule them out for the start of the season, but it does mean that things aren't looking great, at least for their status of getting back on the football field sooner than later. It means these guys are still a while away from being ready to go necessarily. Let's tell you who those players are the Seahawks put on the PUP list. They include Jamal Adams, Jordan Brooks, Noah Fant, as well as Austin Faoliu at the nose tackle spot, who the Seahawks picked up from the XFL from the Seattle Sea Dragons. Brian Mone, Tariq Woolen were those other 2 names as well. So 6 players in total at this point. So let's go ahead and go through the takeaways of all these one by one. No surprise on Jamal Adams at this point. We were not expecting him to be ready to go at the very beginning of camp. The goal for Jamal Adams has always been week 1, and I don't think that's changed at this point for him to be ready to go at the beginning of the season. So not a huge surprise, not the end of the world that Jamal Adams isn't available quite yet. Meanwhile, I would not expect Jordan Brooks to be quite ready to go at this point. That was not a surprise when it was listed that he was on the injury report going on the PUP list right now. What that does, though, is it puts a ton of pressure on Devin Bush at this point, because the idea when Devin Bush signed with the Seahawks, it was, hey, you're probably going to be a backup, a rotational piece, depending on how quickly Jordan Brooks recovers from injury. And now where things are at, that says, all right, Devin Bush, you're going to get significant playing time. And you got to play a hell of a lot better than you did your end of time at Pittsburgh here. Pressure's on Devin Bush to get this thing going. Not just Jordan Brooks getting healthy and in a contract year and all that, but for Devin Bush to fill in and play at a high level. Now, as far as Tariq Woolen and Noah Fant goes, both those guys should be back soon. Not too worried about their statuses going forward. They'll be in good shape. I know they were wanting to have Tariq back by the time camp started. That seemed a little overly optimistic at the time when they said that, but both guys at least should be ready to go when it actually matters. So not the end of the world with those 2. Now, with the injuries to Austin as well as Brian Mone, if it wasn't obvious already, there is a major lack of depth when it comes to the nose tackle position. And you can see why the Seahawks have considered their options of making a move for a nose tackle, whether it be free agency or trade. We've heard from Pete Carroll say that they're looking around, they're keeping their eyes open, and besides just the lack thereof talent-wise of having an elite playmaker there, just enough bodies involved, the Seahawks have a big issue on their hands, and the season hasn't begun yet. And so Cam Young, who the Seahawks drafted from Mississippi State, a lot of pressure on him right away to step into that role. He might start week 1 if things continue to look the way they do at this point in time. So, with all of that said, what is your level of concern with the injury front of where the Seahawks are at in training camp right now? Weigh in. Tell me what you think in the comment section. Scale it for me 1 through 10, what your level of concern is with the Seahawks with their injuries, where things are at right now. Gino better than Russ with a throwback uniform. You'll love to see it. Writes in, hashtag Seahawks, what player needs to have a really good camp for the Seahawks? It's the guy we talked about in the injury segment. Devin Bush really needs to play well in this camp, and I think that he needs to even take another step up beyond that. It's not just playing well in camp, but it's also playing well in the snaps, in the games that actually matter here. Because the bottom line is this: if Jordan Brooks isn't going to be available anytime soon, then with Devin Bush, you are not going to just sit there and be content if he's not going to play at a high level. The Seahawks could then look at a number of guys to potentially bring in for a trade. And one guy in particular, Devin White, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is being looked at as a possibility for teams around the league kind of being shopped of some sort. So with that said, I think he's the one that needs to have a really good camp. I'm also looking for Drew Lock in particular. He needs to have a good camp as well. Did not have a very good camp last year, in particular what he did in the preseason. Granted, he did get COVID and all that. But those guys, for me, are ones that stand out that need to step up to prove why that they belong here and deserve playing time. And in Drew Lock's case, he needs to prove why, that not just that he belongs here, but why he should be trusted in case something were to happen to Geno Smith to fill in that role. So, who's a player the Seahawks need to step up at training camp? Weigh in the comments section. Give me a player that comes to mind, whether it's somebody we talked about or somebody we didn't talk about. Tell me in the comments section who you think needs to step up at training camp for the Seattle Seahawks. One of the exciting things about the Seahawks in 2023 is the throwback gear that they're going to be wearing this season. And it is going to be phenomenal. You know it looks good. Goes back to the AFC days. And what we're doing here at Seahawks Day by Chat Sports is we're selling throwback gear. That way, when throwback week comes around, you're prepared. You're wearing that same stuff. Maybe the throwback gear you have from yesteryear, it got a little dirty or ripped up, whatever, from all those years. Luckily, we have the Seahawks throwback gear and on sale as well for a limited time. 60% off while supplies last. Chatsports.com/Seahawks gear to get yours today. That's chatsports.com/Seahawks gear to get yours now while supplies last. Chatsports.com/Seahawks gear. Get to the super chats coming in from Doom. Writes in, do the Seahawks give Jamal Adams a Troy Polamalu type role where he can just kind of do whatever he wants while Diggs and Love drop back into coverage? Sounds like a good idea in theory, Doom, but let's get him on the football field first. Let's make sure he's healthy and ready to go week 1. But here's my concern about that. I like where you're thinking. It's a good idea in theory, but if Jamal has no direction, this would be my counter argument. If Jamal has no direction, it's kind of free-flowing of some sort, and already has the injury issues he's dealt with, isn't that going to kind of make him prone to more injuries by just kind of hanging around and doing whatever he wants potentially? I would want more structure maybe around Jamal Adams. I like the idea in theory, but then when I step back and say, is that going to lead to Jamal being hurt more? I don't know, potentially. So, sounds like a good idea, but it could come with consequences as far as that goes, Doom. Let's see him get on the football field first. Alexander with a $5 super chat. I know you guys have talked about Grover Stewart being an option. What about V of A? No need for the DK song. I love the DK song. Man, that hurt. You don't want the DK song? Okay, anyways, as far as Vita Vea goes, this is a guy that, Washington Husky fans are very familiar with. Former Husky, 2018 first-round pick, won a Super Bowl with the Bucs, went to a Pro Bowl, one of the better nose tackles in the league. Bucs are in an odd situation right now. Dave Canales is their OC, who was the quarterback's coach in Seattle previously. But they're kind of in a weird state of mind because the Bucs can't really rebuild because the salary cap hell they're in, and with where they were at draft pick-wise and all that this past year wasn't too kind to them, essentially. But yet they still have star talent like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and others like that. So I don't know if they're looking to move on from him necessarily, but if they are, that would be an incredible fit, and it would be exactly what the Seahawks are looking for. So, Alexander, I think you might be onto something there. And then Alexander with a follow-up super chat says, suggested lineup, nickel with Prez as a floater, Reek and Spoon on the outside, Colby at the slot, Diggs and Love on the backfield. Just a thought. Sing it, fellas. Oh, we'll sing it here in just a second. That's a great idea. I think you might be onto something. That floater roll, the three high safety technique, I think what you're talking about, you will see the Seahawks do at some point this year. So you might be onto something there. Let's see him get healthy first. But Alexander, you know ball. You know ball, my guy. And with that, we will sing the song for you. Chomping, chomping, Carol's chomping, Geno passes, no one stopping, DK. Touchdowns all day. He rolls. Thank you, Alexander. Hawk and Flock writes in, what are your expectations for Geno Smith during camp? So let's put it this way, okay? If Geno Smith plays exactly like he did last year, if that's his encore presentation in 2023, you'll take that. 30-plus touchdowns, 11 interceptions, most accurate quarterback in the league percentage-wise. Yeah, that'd be fine. But I think Geno is going to be even better, that he's going to take a step forward in 2023. And the big thing for me to watch for specifically is cutting back on the turnovers to an extent. To me, that's the number one thing we're pointing to with Geno Smith is the turnover numbers have got to come down as a whole. Because the second half of the year, his turnovers went way up. Got to do a better job of taking care of the football. And so for Geno, I think it's putting in the work. And we've heard the rumblings that he's working as hard as he's ever looked before. He said he feels like he's 21 years old again. Continue to do those extra things, to go the extra mile. If he does that, he'll be in good shape. He's got a great arsenal around him when it comes to his backfield, his receivers, his offensive line is going to be better. Let's see Geno take another step forward. That's my expectation. So here at Seahawks Today, we believe Geno Smith will improve this season from last. If you agree with that statement, type T for true. If you disagree with that statement, type F for false. Let us know in the comment section what you think one way or the other. T for true, F for false, and let me know. All right. Halfway home. 2 segments down, 2 to go. Name a player for Seattle that needs to step up at training camp. What do you guys think? Weigh in the comment section. Give me a player that needs to step up. Steve says Geno needs to work on his ball handling and turnovers. Steve, you're making him sound like a basketball player, but I get the idea. Who needs to step up? Very curious what you guys think. Let's see. Ilona says he needs good protection and not turning the ball over. Okay, that's a good point. Tex, you all right? Okay. Tex is breathing heavy. I thought it was like snorting cocaine or something, Tex, who's the player you think needs to step up in training camp here?
Probably D. Eskridge, or he's going to get cut.
Good answer. Good answer. D. Eskridge is a player that definitely needs to step up in camp. Yeah. Let's get to the updated Super Chat battle, shall we? We're chipping away. Bears, Giants, and Steelers all live today. They're having themselves a day. 115 on Bears, 225 or 250 on Giants, 475 on Steelers. We're at 20. A little bit at a time here on Seahawks Today. We're being very patient, but we're making good progress. We'll see what we can do to catch up. And you can super chat or you can Venmo me at Tyler Jones Live if you want to be a part of the show and join the super chat battle as we try to take down these other teams. Here's the super chat menu. We got a super chat we'll get to here in just a second. $5 will sing that beautiful DK song. $10 will take a shot. I haven't taken any shots today yet. $15 will do a little beer cheers. $20 a beer chug. And every $200 will take down Das Boot. So we're at about $22 right now. So we are about 178 away from Das Boot. So we got some work to do. But I believe that we can get there and take down Das Boot. If you send in a $100 super chat, then you're going on the Boot Hall of Fame. You'll get a spot. We'll induct you and everything here on the show. So that's what we're offering today. Here's the $2 super chat. Coming in from GR151 of 1. Thank you for that. Says, if we trade, should we trade for gimme top 3? Are you asking, should they trade for a top 3 pick? I think that's what you're asking. Should they trade for a top 3 pick? I mean, for what? Like, what are we just trying to get in the top 3? Like, are we trying to get Caleb Williams here or Drake May or something? I mean, I like the possibility of Caleb Williams. I think he's a generational talent. I'd love to see him in Seattle. But you know how much you'd have to give up to get into the top 3 next year's draft? It's going to be insane. I was talking to some folks about 6 months ago, and they said that teams are already making game plans of how they could try to get Caleb Williams with that number 1 pick next year. So I'm not sure where you're going with that, but I think there's only 2 teams that everybody feels pretty confident that's going to be picking in that top 2. Arizona, they're not trading with you, and Indianapolis. And Indianapolis already has a quarterback. So I don't know what you're going for there, but nonetheless. Oh, who's the top 3 players we should trade for? Okay, sorry, I read that wrong. Top 3 players the Seahawks should trade for. Let's see here. Devin Bush would be up there. I would have said Quentin Williams a couple weeks ago, but he got the extension, so he's not there anymore. Vita Vea would be up there now on that list. I would also add Chase Young to that list as well. Those would be the 3 guys I'd keep my eye on. Sorry I didn't read your message correctly there, but those would be the 3 names I would be watching for as a potential move for a trade. Although it's been about a year since the Seahawks made a trade now. The last trade was for J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who ultimately didn't even make the team last year. So we'll see. Super chat menu, here's what we're offering today. $5 DK song, $10 take a shot, $15 beer cheers, $20 beer chug. Every $200 we'll take down Das Boot. Up next, let's talk about the training camp hot seat. Who is on the hot seat for the Seahawks to make the roster, has something to prove, the biggest to prove going into training camp? We will break down 4 different players who got something to watch, who have something to prove in training camp. We'll do that next here on Seahawks Today. Tex, we all good? Yes. All right. He'll hold that fist. He'll knock me out. Yeah. Bam! Bang! All right, here we go. It is time for training camp hot seat right now here on Seahawks Today. We are covering training camp like no one else is here on Seahawks Today with the latest happenings on your favorite team all throughout camp with news and rumors, analysis, reaction, takeaways, everything in between of what's going on with your Seahawks over the next few weeks as they take over Renton. And what we'll do here on the channel while training camp's going on throughout the preseason, we're going to have our live shows on Wednesdays. We'll do watch parties for all the preseason games. This is the channel for diehard Seahawk fans. Subscribe now for free today. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. We'll cover training camp like no one else does, and you'll be glad to be with us. Subscribe now for free. Seahawks today, we are talking training camp hot seat. Who is under the most pressure to perform over the next few weeks for the Seattle Seahawks with training camp going on? I got 4 names in particular that I want to go over, and I want to start out with D. Eskridge at the wide receiver position. A lot has been made about D. Eskridge in 2023. He had a very good offseason program with OTAs and minicamp, but what will he do this time to not only save his roster spot, which he is fighting for, but also to get playing time on the football field and prove that he's worthy of playing a significant role on this offense? We'll tell you why he is on the hot seat at this point. Starts out with Jackson Smith-Njigba, who, before the draft, it looked like that D. Eskridge was on his way to being the number 3 receiver for the Seahawks. But then JSN was picked at 20, and he immediately moved past D. Eskridge on the depth chart. D has obviously struggled to stay healthy. That has been a big issue for him throughout his career to this point. He hasn't been available. And even when he's been on the field, his impact has been limited. He hasn't really done a whole lot. This is a guy that in college not only played receiver, but he was a returner as well, and yet doesn't have a whole lot to show for it. Now, the thing that's kind of helping him of some sorts is that he is a former second-round pick all the way back in 2021. So if you're the Seahawks, you have an extra added incentive to keep him around because you don't want to lose out on a second-round pick. You have more at stake, essentially, considering how much it took to take D. Eskridge with that spot. So that's where he's at as he's on the training camp hot seat. What do you think? Our pinned comment today. Will D. Eskridge turn things around in 2023? Will this be a breakout season for D. Eskridge? Tell us what you think in the comment section. Y for yes, N for no. Our pinned comment today. What do you think? Will this be a turnaround season for D. Eskridge or not? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Today's show is sponsored by Z-Biotics. Let's face it, after y'all hit me with a bunch of super chats that don't bounce back well the next day. That is until I found Z-Biotics. Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. It's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut, where you need it most. Drink Z-Biotics before drinking alcohol. Drink responsibly and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. So here is the product in all its glory. You can see 6 bottles here. And the best part about it, folks, is that they are easy to travel with. So if you want to party and have a good time on the road, you have a plan in place. Go to zbiotics.com/chatsports or scan the QR code on screen right now to get 15% off your first order when you use code CHATSPORTS at checkout. You can also sign up for a subscription as well so you can stay prepared no matter the time or occasion. Z-Biotics is backed with 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. That's zbiotics.com/chatsports. Use the code CHATSPORTS at checkout for 15% off. Thank you to Z-Biotics for sponsoring today's video. Next up on the training camp hot seat is Devin Bush. Now, Devin Bush joined the Seahawks this offseason, but before he's ever played a down in Seattle, there's a lot of pressure on him already. Now, he signed this season after 4 years with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Had an outstanding rookie year in Pittsburgh, but his production has declined ever since. It was a disaster how the last few years went for Devin Bush, but he's coming to Seattle looking to make a fresh start, and his role is already going to be significant for the Seahawks because of Jordan Brooks. We don't know when his return will be from injury. It it's unknown at this point. We're all just kind of waiting to see necessarily when he comes back. He's on the PUP list right now, and the expectation is that he probably won't be ready when the season begins. So Devin Bush has a lot to prove that he's worthy of holding on to that role. And if he struggles, then there's another possibility. We've heard Devin White mentioned as a trade possibility for the Seahawks. He's one of many linebackers out there, Patrick Queen, among others, that are on the market for a potential move. So if the Seahawks don't like what they see from Devin Bush, they have other options potentially. They could go make a move for and do better than Devin Bush. So it's not just about getting playing time, but also just holding your spot on the roster if you're Devin Bush. Next on the list is Drew Lock at the quarterback position. Now, this offseason for Drew Lock is much different than it was last offseason. Last offseason, Drew Lock came to Seattle with the idea of trying to win the starting quarterback competition, beating out Geno Smith. He did not beat out Geno Smith last offseason. In fact, he struggled throughout much of camp and throughout much of the preseason last year. We heard the reports that things were not great for Drew Lock when it came to his performances in training camp. And then, although he did miss time in the preseason due to COVID, when he did play, he did not play very well last year. Now, his time in the regular season was very limited. We never got to see him take a single snap in the Seahawks offense last year. The coaching staff said he did all the things right off the field, but he basically had a year off from football. And his contract, the way that lines up for him, he's only on a one-year deal. He's not getting paid a whole lot of money. So Drew Lock is in a circumstance where he's in a prove-it deal of some sort. Drew Lock, I'm sure, would love to be a starting quarterback somewhere again next year. So if you're Drew Lock, you are hoping to just shine brightly in training camp, play well in the preseason games, and prove why that the Seahawks can trust you if something were to happen to Geno, but also for your future to hopefully get a chance to be a starter somewhere again. So I got another name that we'll get to in a moment, but first, who is the Seahawks player with the most to prove this offseason in training camp? Who is the guy with the most to prove? We've given you a few names. There's obviously some others out there. Who is the most to prove? Who's got the hottest seat? Let us know who you think it is in the comment section below. Our final name on this list is Darrell Taylor. And I know what you may be thinking. Isn't Darrell Taylor coming off the best season of his career so far? That answer would be true. But there's a whole lot more to read into when it comes to Darrell Taylor. Career high, 9.5 sacks in 2022. Led the Seahawks. It was a great number. He did really well there. But that doesn't tell the whole story, as sure, he was a good pass rusher, but everything else was not very good for this young man, for Darrell Taylor, as he struggled in run defense, and it was not good other than getting to the quarterback. The rest of it just didn't work out for him. On top of that, the Seahawks drafted Derek Hall from Auburn, number 37 overall. And the expectation is that Derek Hall is going to compete for playing time at the same position immediately. And then on top of that, you got Boye Mafe, who the Seahawks drafted last year. And Mafe, he showed some flashes at times. I think everybody points to that Steelers preseason game last year. Although his playing time in the regular season was somewhat limited, I think the thought is that this is going to be the year he takes a big step forward. So competition just for playing time is going to be very tough for Darrell Taylor as is. And think about this. Even last year when he had 9.5 sacks, he was doing so as a rotational piece. He lost his job as the starting rusher on that end after just 3 games last year before they ultimately benched him. So pressure's on Darrell Taylor to compete for playing time. He'll be on this roster. He's not in danger of getting cut, but he is in danger of losing playing time when this is a time that he should be flourishing and excelling there. So I want to know, what's your confidence level in Darrell Taylor? Scale it for me in the comments section, 1 through 10, where your confidence level stands with Darrell Taylor at this point in time. Scale it for me 1 through 10 in the comment section, and let me know. Hit me up on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads, at Tyler Jones Live, talking about your Seattle Seahawks there. We're all over training camp here on the channel. Stay tuned. We'll have you covered, and we'll see you next time here on Seahawks Today. All right. What do you think, comment section? What Seahawks player has the most to prove this year? Weigh in the comment section. Tell me what you think, and I'll go over some of these comments. Let's see. What do we got here? JSN needs to stay healthy, says Nick. Elona says, I hope D will be healthy. Glizzy says, Tyler Jones on the ad presentation. That's right. Let's see. Elona says, he's so useless, we wasted the pick in 2021. About D. Eskridge. Elona, it's a little harsh. You might not be wrong, though. Crucial year. What else we got here? Nick Fury says, boo Drew Lock. No, we don't boo our own players here. We're not about that. We're not booing our own guys. So, Nick, come on now. Be better than that. Nick says, Devin Bush is the player with the most to prove. Don't worry about Drew Lock. Let's see. Yes. Okay, Tex is going to use the restroom. We're going to time him. Over under 2 minutes on Tex taking a piss. Clock starts right now. What do you guys think? O for over, U for under, and how long it takes Tex to get back using the bathroom. I'll be honest, Tex sometimes can be in there a while. Let's see here. Player with the most approved, Darrell Taylor. Okay. Knew this was too good to be true. Knew our draft was too good to be true. Hold on. It's very early here, folks. Very early. What do we think? How long is it going to take Tex to use the bathroom? Over under 2 minutes. He said he could be back in 2 minutes. Clock is running. Nick says over. And then if it takes him longer than 2 minutes, what should the punishment be for Tex when he comes back? Let's see. Glizzy says over. So far, everybody doesn't think that Tex can piss fast. We'll find out. We'll keep tabs on this. Ilona says over as well. Everybody is doubting Big Tex. Did word get around to how long Tex takes in the bathroom to the chat? I didn't say anything. This is news to this, but the folks out there have their doubts. We are a minute 10 in. By the way, we'll be doing our hot takes segment next. Use hashtag hot take or super chat, and you can get your comments in to the show. Nick says drink the boot. We'll see. 30 seconds to go. Will Tex make it back? He did it. Tex made it back in 1:35. So we asked the chat, over under 2 minutes of Tex using the bathroom. Everybody in the chat said over. They did not believe you'd be back in 2 minutes. So, and we were already debating, what's the punishment going to be if Tex takes longer than 2 minutes? But no punishment this time.
I always prove the doubters wrong. Come on now.
So I assume you went number one, not number two?
Yes.
Okay. There it is. He's breathing hard. He made it. He made it back just in time, in the nick of time. So no punishment for Tex as he gets back in 2 minutes. All right. Hot takes coming up next. Hashtag hot take or super chat to get on the hot take. I want them spicy, folks. I want you to tell me who you want fired, who you want cut, who you want traded. I'll react to it. I know we already got some good ones cooked up, but the hotter, the better. Let's put it that way. Give me what you got here, folks. Tex, I'll turn things to you to give people an idea of what we're doing.
Yes.
Give me your Seahawks hot take for this year. Put yourself on camera.
I got you.
To give people an idea kind of what we're about to do, just as an example here, what is your hot take for the Seahawks?
I think that the Seahawks could sweep the 49ers. They play them twice, right?
They do.
That's my hot take. The 49ers get swept by the Seattle Seahawks.
That's a good hot take, folks. Is it, the odds say that that's not going to happen. But Tex is putting it out there. He's being a little spicy, unpopular opinion, saying the sweep
believer in the
is coming.
Seahawks.
Yeah, that's a good hot take, folks. So if you got more hot takes like what Tex gave you just there, send it in. Before we get started with the hot take segment, let's go back to the Super Chat menu and our scoreboard here. Here's what we're offering today. $5, we'll sing the DK song. $10 to take a shot. $15 do a little beer cheers. $20 do a beer chug. And every $200 we'll drink Das Boot. Nick Fury was wanting us to drink the boot. Hey, we got a ways to go before we get to the boot, folks. It can be done, but you guys got to help us get there. We are at $24 in Super Chats right now. Giants had a day today. Steelers was rocking. Bears wasn't bad. 115 on Bears, 250 on Giants, 475 on Steelers. We got work to do. I do not want to get our ass kicked by these other channels. I want you 12s to show why you're the best fans in the NFL. And let's take it to them and do our part here in the Super Chat battle against those teams who are live right now on those channels. Here's what we're offering. Let's party. Let's have a good time. Final segment ahead. Hot takes. Give us your boldest takes for the Seahawks, and we will react to them coming up next year on Seahawks Today. Tex, we all set? We good to go? Okay, so Tex needs about 15 seconds. So, and if you think of a hot take as we're going through the mailbag, then go ahead and keep sending it in. No, don't, no. If they send in one while we're going, then do it, but not those. All right, and Super Chats will get priority in this hot take mailbag. Otherwise, though, use hashtag hot take to get on the show, and we'll get going. Nick says we're missing our big guns, Mark Sanchez and a few others. Hey, we'll have Mark back in no time. Don't worry about Mark. He's enjoying his summer somewhere, or he is, but he'll be back in no time. Don't worry about it. Tex, we all good now? Just about ready to go with our hot take. Okay. Cool. All right. Here we go. Hot take segment, final segment of the show here on Seahawks Today. Hi at Chat Sports. Oh, wait, I'm not on screen. Try that again. Here we go. All right, here we go. Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for joining us. We're going to try a brand new segment here on today's show. What we are going to do is we are going to react to your hot takes. And what we have asked the folks to do on this show, comes from our live show, is to use the hashtag hot take or Super Chat and give us just some spicy stuff, okay? The more hotter, the better. Let's put it that way. Be bold with it. As we're going along, people are going to be sending these in real time, and we'll react to it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to our first ever hot take segment here on Seahawks Today. Our first hot take comes from Nick Fury. Nick writes in, I think the Seahawks are in position to take the NFC West. All they have to do is repeat the first 9 weeks. Geno Smith has to skyrocket, and Jamal Adams and Jordan Brooks return to the field. Okay. Lot to pack in there, Nick. Let me put it to you this way. You hit on a lot of good stuff there. But here's the big issue here. The Seahawks have in front of them, as opposed to comparing themselves to San Francisco, is the Seahawks still have issues in the interior of the defensive line. They still are going to struggle against stopping the run. And what do the Niners do best? They win at the line of scrimmage, and they run the football very well. That's still an issue for Seattle. I think the Seahawks are going to be improved, but I don't think San Francisco got any worse. I loved what they did bringing in Javon Hargrave on one side of the ball. The Niners are still going to be a problem. So as much as the Seahawks look better, I think the Niners are still very good in their own right. Now, the Seahawks have the best quarterback in the division right now, But even with that said, San Francisco is still a problem to deal with. So I don't know about winning the division yet, but I think it's going to be very interesting. It'll be very close as far as that goes. Thanks, Nick. Next hot take. Our secondary will underperform, but our offense will make up for it. Underperform. Now, I look at this secondary for the Seahawks. Here's how they could underperform, okay? If Jamal Adams isn't healthy, which could very well be the case, then obviously the secondary isn't going to be as good as advertised. Mike Jackson, who had a terrific offseason program, if he doesn't play like it when it comes to when it matters, then yeah, I could see that being an issue. Kobe Bryant, we're all expecting to take a step up at the nickelback spot. What about Tariq Woolen also getting healthy? He's expected to be back before the season begins. But can he play like he did last year? Could he take a step back? What about Devon Witherspoon as a rookie? Number 5 pick, expectations are high. I think the defense, the secondary, is going to be great. But obviously just a couple of things go a different direction and they could be not as good as advertised. The offense, I do think, is going to be lethal. And I think they're going to kind of cover some of the flaws that you'll see in other areas with this team. And one thing to watch for in particular that I think the Seahawks are going to do a good job of when it comes to their offense, because how much Pete Carroll and Shane Waldron want to run the football and be a run-first team, despite having the weapons to be an explosive, high-powered scoring offense with, Geno Smith, JSN, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Noah Fant, Will Dissly, the list goes on and on. They still want to run the football and manage clock first, and that's only going to help the defense as you keep them off the field. So you might be on something. Gino says, if we don't make the playoffs, I think we should fire Pete Carroll. What do you think, Tyler? Fire Pete? Are we really doing this? I did ask for hot takes, but Pete's not getting fired. And I'll say this. If things do not go well, if the Seahawks have a bad year, and if it's very obvious it's time to move on, I believe that Pete Carroll deserves to go out gracefully, okay? If this is Pete's last year, if it just doesn't go well, retire, call it a day, and move on to the next chapter from there. There should never be a reason, unless there's some type of scandal of some sorts that we don't know about right now. You don't need to be firing Pete Carroll here. If this is the end, let him walk out gracefully and with respect and honor and do that. But firing him, something ugly, very ugly would have to happen. I think the Seahawks are going to be a playoff team anyway. But I would be very surprised if he just got straight up hired. He's not getting canned as far as I'm concerned. Will this be Pete Carroll's last season in Seattle? What do you guys think? Y for yes, in for no. Is this it for Pete Carroll with the Seattle Seahawks? This is our pinned comment today. Let us know what you think. Y for yes, in for no. Will this be it for Pete Carroll with the Seahawks? Alexander, his hot take. Kenny McIntosh will be our best running back, but won't get enough work due to depth. Alex, I disagree. I don't think he'll be the best running back, but I think he's going to be a very good running back at that. 7th-round pick out of Georgia. Very good pass catcher. I think he'll be a good third-down back. Kevin Walker is fantastic. Zach Charbonnet is fantastic as well. Kenny McIntosh will be an impact on the offense, but I won't call him the best running back that the Seahawks have to offer. I do think he'll be better than DJ Dallas. I think he'll move up to the number 3 running back position pretty quickly. But I do not think that we're going to be talking about him being the best back as far as that goes. JSN will be our best rookie. No offense to Devon Witherspoon. Don't take this the wrong way, folks. But I agree. I do think that we're going to see Jackson Smith-Njigba be the Seahawks' best rookie this year. When you're a young corner, you got some growing pains at times. And in JSN's case, the difference between him as opposed to Devon Witherspoon is the thought is that Devon Witherspoon is going to be asked to be a starting outside corner immediately. So you're going to have some good moments. You're going to have some bad moments. There's going to be a lot of growing pains. In the case of JSN, he's going to be asked to be the number 3 receiver, okay? And all the attention, for the most part, offensively when it comes to the passing game is going to be on DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. That should free up things for JSN to just really just go out there and flourish and do his own thing and be his own guy. So I think JSN will be the best rookie. I agree with that statement, and I think he's going to have a fantastic career and be a Seahawk for a very long time. You're looking at a future Pro Bowl caliber receiver. Alexander writes, Jaron Reed will be our best defensive lineman, including the edges. Jaron Reed making his return to Seattle. I think Jaron Reed is going to be great to have. He'll be a nice improvement. Didn't cost the Seahawks a whole lot. I like Draymond Jones, though. I had my eyes on Draymond Jones when he was in Denver and said, wow, I would love to see that guy in Seattle. And they got him. And Draymond Jones is starting to peak at the right time. He's shown consistency early in his career, and he continues to get better. And the Seahawks, I think, are getting him when he's ready to take that next step as a defensive player. And he's going to be incredible this upcoming season. I think that Draymond Jones is that guy, but Jaron Reed wasn't a bad signing either. I think he's a solid player, and the Seahawks are going to like what they see out of Jaron Reed there. Hot take cut. D. Eskridge and Tyler Mabry. I do think Tyler Mabry is going to let go. There's only so many tight ends you can carry on the roster. When you look at Noah Fant and Will Dissly and Colby Parkinson, there's just not a spot for Tyler Mabry. D. Eskridge, man, let's say for all intents and purposes, that D. Eskridge does not have a good camp, that things don't go well. Isn't it kind of hard to just already write off a second-round pick from 2 years ago like that? That won't be easy. That's a hard reality to accept. And I don't think the Seahawks are ready to do that just yet. Not to mention, D. Eskridge had a very good campaign when it came to what he did in the offseason programs. He impressed coaches, his teammates, Geno Smith in particular. So hopefully that carries over. But also don't forget about this when it comes to D. Eskridge. Sure, he might be the number 4 receiver, but he was a very good return specialist in college. I would love to see him do some more of that with this Seahawks team, potentially as a kicker punt returner. So I don't think D's getting cut. I do think you're right, though, about Tyler Mabry. Nick, this might be our last one here. Second to last. Says, Jackson Smith and Jigba will win Rookie of the Year. Spoon will win Defensive Rookie of the Year. JSN is going to have to share too much to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I don't think that happens with Jackson Smith and Jigba. As far as Devon Witherspoon goes, even though I think JSN is going to be the better of the 2 rookies, I think there is a better opportunity for Devon Witherspoon to win the Rookie of the Year because he is still his own guy. He is going to be taking on, at times, best receiver or second best receiver any given week, and he'll still do his own thing and get those chances to put up those numbers to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. Opportunities are somewhat limited for JSN to be Offensive Rookie of the Year, not to mention that's usually a quarterback award, and quarterbacks have a lot easier route to win that as opposed to what JSN does. But it'll be interesting. We'll see. DK is jacked, writes in, trading for Jamal Adams was the biggest mistake in franchise history. What will he do this year? DK is jacked. You're not wrong. He is jacked. I get the frustration. Looking back, it was unfortunate the way things have played out the way they did, of what the Seahawks gave up for Jamal Adams and the lack of production that they've received out of him. Even when he's been on the football field, he hasn't even come close to looking like the player the Seahawks traded for with all that there. So with that said, was it the worst trade in franchise history? It was pretty bad. it was a bad trade. Look, hindsight's 2020. The Seahawks wouldn't have done that trade, obviously, over again. I think he's going to have a decent year, though. If he stays healthy, there's no reason why Jamal Adams shouldn't have played a Pro Bowl level as far as I'm concerned. But he's got to get on the field first. We'll see. What's your confidence level in Jamal Adams this year? Scale it for me 1 through 10 in the comments section. What do you think Jamal Adams is going to do this season? Weigh in. Tell me what you think in the comments section below. All right. We are all done here on Seahawks Today. Tex, fun show today.
Yeah, had a good time, man. Always have a good time on Seahawks Today.
Let's do this. We'll put the sub link in the chat, and I'll put about a minute on the clock. We get a super chat in the next minute. We'll stay live and keep the show going. If not, then we'll sign off. We'll call it a day. We'll go home and enjoy ourselves and have a good night. We got a little 3-day weekend this weekend.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man.
Off on Friday. It's Chat Sports Day.
Chat Sports Day.
A national holiday here at Chat Sports.
Yes, indeed. Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. I am looking forward to it.
1 minute on the clock. We get a super chat. We stay live. Otherwise, we sign off and call it a day. What do you guys got for us? Let's see if you want to keep the show going. Otherwise, we can sign off. Hit that sub button for the latest Seahawks news each and every day. We're going to be all over training camp. We'll be live again next Wednesday. We've got segments each and every day here on the channel. And we've already had breaking news throughout the last couple days, and we'll bring you a video right away when we have breaking news here on the channel. We'll bring you that. Even if I had to do it from my bedroom in Dallas, I will. We'll bring you a video as quick as we can. So subscribe, and you'll be glad you did. Let's see. Alexander says, go home and rip more of them cold ones. I got another cold one right here. I could just sit around and drink with you guys. But cheers to the 12s. I love a good cold beer. Can't go wrong with cold beer. Time has run out, so we'll sign off. We will see you guys right back here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific for this live edition of Seahawks Today. Stay tuned for the channel. He's Big Tex. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night. We'll see you next time.